Welcome to Cowboy Shit, hosted by Ted Stoven and myself, Dustin Edwards. Join us as we chat with influential figures shaping the Western world, from artists to athletes. With backgrounds in bull riding, media, and sports commentary, we're not afraid to tackle tough topics while celebrating the essence of cowboy culture. Find our clothing line at cowboyshit.ca and tune in for insightful conversations. Thanks for listening. Welcome to Cowboy Shit, the podcast. I am Dustin Edwards, and he is Ted, the Wi-Fi World Champion Stoven, who is currently, if you can't see him on camera, just finishing his Hawkins Cheesy to kickstart the program today. Today's program unofficially presented by Hawkins. Why? Because they don't sponsor anything. They might as well sponsor this.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
I'll take a cheesy sponsorship.
Yeah. I asked Ted before we went on, I said, have you ever seen a Hawkins Cheesy advertisement? And you said no.
Never, ever.
And I feel somewhere in my journeys, I read about Hawkins. They make nothing else but cheesies, and they don't advertise because they don't think they need to.
And they don't I don't even know what size the factory is or nothing, but like they got a Canadian company, WT Hawkins Inc., Belleville, Ontario.
Yeah.
Cheesies.com. That's CHEEZIES.com. Not .ca.com.
They've done such a good job with the brand that if you have any other type of cheesy, crunchy stick that's not theirs, you still call it a cheesy.
Yeah, or a Cheeto. The only other one that I can see is like a Cheeto.
Isn't the Cheeto the puffy one?
Yeah, it is.
The soft one.
The soft one. But these are so good. But
so what do you prefer, the soft Cheeto or the hard cheesy?
Cheesies, bro. Every time.
Except I feel these things like hurt the inside of your mouth after a while. Like you get like this raw, I don't know.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. But you just like, you don't need to get a full bag at one time, Dustin. You can just have like 4 or 5 and then call it good.
And you know, if you're you can. Not me. And if you grew up in,
you guys have self-control and have like 3.
If you grew up in Alberta or Canada, I'm sure that I speak for everybody.
Because they're two separate things, Alberta or Canada, right?
Yeah, they're separate. They're gonna be. We'll talk about that later. But if you grew up in Canada and or Alberta or both, I feel that your first recollection of a bag of cheesies is hanging on a wire display case in a hockey rink concession as a child.
Yeah. Or a gas station.
Like one of those little clippy things. Yeah.
With a clothespin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just yank them off
hanging up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Had a lot of those as a child in the Big Valley rink.
Yeah. And now I just buy them in bulk because I'm a bit of a.
And hickory sticks. They were always in the rink in Big Valley. Everybody loved those hickory sticks.
And I guess we're on this topic because for those that don't know, we're in a bit of a trade war with America right now. For all of American listeners,
we are. So anyone from America who's listening to this, your credit card's been charged 25% cowboy shit tariff just for listening.
Yeah. So thanks for that. But oh man, I don't know what else to say. It seems like a bit of a funny idea. Trade war. But I think it lasted all of about 4 hours this morning. I don't think anything actually happened.
It made peace. But hey, you know what, Ted?
What?
I did read tonight that Trudeau's looking for a border czar. I haven't even seen the word czar in like the modern era. Like I feel like
really
it was on the news. It was like Trudeau will announce a border czar, and I'm like,
really
czar from like medieval times and
like a
Russia and
Russian czars.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So if anyone is interested,
applications are now open for Canada's border czar.
Yeah. Check out the government website.
Do you want to rule like the 1840s?
I just picture this guy with like a big, I don't know,
fur hat, big tall fur.
Yeah, big fur hat, the big long
saber.
Coat,
probably a saber too. Yeah,
and he's standing at Coots, just like fuck off, fentanyl. And that's your job. You're probably paid well.
Oh, and none of these fucking cheesies are getting out of the
That's
country. They're
right.
staying here.
No cheesies, no Smarties.
I wonder if any of these go out of the country or if they're just for Canadian consumption. Like I
No,
wonder.
not anymore.
No preservatives. They're corn snacks. They're called cheesies, but they're actually corn snacks. And they're made with real cheddar cheese. But on the back here it says cornmeal, vegetable oil, processed aged cheddar cheese seasoning, lactic acid, disodium phosphate, salt, and certified color. Contains tartrazine, whatever that is.
Can't
Probably
even
cancer
read.
causing. It can't
uh,
even read good.
yeah. What a
It's quite the
thrilling
time.
start.
Quite the time. This is really I enjoy the way this conversation's gone so far,
Okay,
Dustin.
so Ted, if there is one thing, I've heard a lot of this conversation in the last 24 hours. If there was like a true trade war, like complete boycott of American products, what is one thing from the US that you would like really miss if you could never get
Mm.
it again in Canada?
Well, I think one of the troubles is that so much of our stuff is made with components that are from the US or from outside the country. Like I'm looking at this cowboy hat, like I got this really nice cowboy hat next to me. And like Vern Elliott makes a unreal hat, an American Hat makes an unreal hat. Tim Cooper makes an amazing hat. Jace Thorstenstein's making great hats, but the hat bodies come from like the American hat body. This one I think would come from somewhere in Portugal, and then the Winchester hat bodies that Vern makes his hats with come from Tennessee. But like for me, it'd be like number one would be a good hat. My boots, you know, another little plug here, but
But they
my
happen to
boots
come
I'm
from
okay. My boots are good because
Canada.
they're from Canada West Boots, Winnipeg, Manitoba, made in Canada since 1978. Also the makers of Brahma boots. So that way I'm covered. I got my boots set up.
So you're not getting tariffed on that.
No, but then we're gonna get tariffed on some of the pieces because
They will
like
survive the trade war.
the Vibram soles come from probably America, or
And
they
the
get
alligator skins come from, there's no alligators up here.
no. I want to say the gators are from Florida, and the ostriches I think are from a Florida leather
But
company.
we could get some ostriches from Tabor. There's
There's
a
some Tabor ostriches.
there
But
is.
do they make
So
leather? Because all the leather
so
tanneries are in Mexico or Italy.
so we're really hooped.
That's the
So you're
thing
gonna
is
get
like
like partial things.
right. It'd be messed up, but like
Maybe we'll
uh
become more self-sufficient though. Maybe
well
we'll be
that
like, damn, we need to be better.
my mom told me this a long time ago that our world in the next like 20 years, and this was at least 10 years ago now, that our world was going to get hyper local because people for so long it was easy to go offshore with the production to China and get a bunch of stuff from China or from wherever else, and it was super cheap, but then didn't last. It's not good stuff, and then you're outsourcing and putting all that revenue to a different country where like at least we still have automakers in Ontario, and we have luckily oil production in Alberta, powering Western Canada powering the entirety of
Agriculture.
North America agriculture, like. But like I don't know, I'd be curious to look at our diets too, or like even the booze. Like I've got some scotch here from Scotland. I've got some tequila from Mexico. Woodford Reserve is, I think, a Jack Daniel's product. That's an American whiskey, but like I can get by on a lot of Alberta
Alberta
Premium
premium, baby.
if we're worrying about that. But our friends from Pendleton might have a tough time with their the Pendleton whiskey is gonna have a
Pendleton
little
ain't
tough time
happening.
with
Yeah.
with their Canadian whiskey blend if we're gonna
It's
tariff
gonna
it
be
all.
interesting to see how many people it's will boycott American brands.
I wonder. I mean, and I spent a lot of time across the border. So do you, Dustin. Like we're both back and forth a ton, and like the countries are so similar. Even Mexico. Like I don't think it really makes much sense. Like that's part of why we have had NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, and we've had CUSMA, the Canada, United States, Mexico Agreement. Like it makes so much sense to trade with our neighbors,
Yeah.
and Canada's not for sale, so we're not probably going to become the 51st state.
Not likely.
Uh,
And we need to get the oil going, not
yeah,
just to the US too. And we got to get the pipelines going
yeah.
and we got to get it onto the coast and onto waters
Yeah,
and across. That's a big thing.
exactly.
And
And then we don't have to discount it and sell it to the U.S.
yeah.
No offense,
And we
America.
and we still love America and we love the people. I seen a post today. It was something like,
Love the
don't
travel
hate
in
it.
America.
Don't hate everybody on your block because the one guy in the street's a total a-hole or something. And I
We're
thought
talking
that
about Gator.
I thought that resonated. So
We love you, Gator. I'm sorry. I take it back.
yeah. Actually,
What
you know
would
what?
you
If
miss from
anybody,
America? Sorry.
what would I miss from America?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I would miss going to America. I like going to America.
Yeah.
There's fun parts of it. It's a little scary at times, but
Our
I like a
dollars
lot
the
of going
shit.
to.
I
Yeah.
like I like what America has there, not necessarily what America gives me here.
Well, I love working for like I work for, Beck Sunglasses as an American company, Montana Silversmiths American company. Like a big part of what I do is, PBR is an American company. Like there's a lot of work that's so closely intertwined. Like I
So if
obviously.
you sold me Montana now, would I have to pay a tariff?
Oh yeah, I believe so. Like that there's a bunch of stuff going across my desk today about the tariffs.
Oh
So
shit.
luckily it got paused for a while and hopefully we get it rectified before this happens. But I mean,
Well,
I think we want to
once we got the fentanyl czar in at Coots,
we might sort it out.
if there's anyone that would apply for that job just randomly because it'd be posted somewhere in the back end of a government website, it would be Gator.
But Gator, I could see Gator being the government czar for the border.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a diplomat.
Yeah, it's true.
He knows a thing or two about cross country relations. So
That guy's got some stamps in his passport,
yeah,
probably more than most.
yeah.
Uh, what else, Dustin? We really got off the rails, but I mean, like it's current events, and like I said, I think what I'm trying to get at is that Canada, the United States, Mexico, we're all better working together with each other as far as like North America, and we're so close. Like it's still a long ways, but we're so close to trade with each other. It makes more sense for us to sell our oil to the U.S. than to ship it across to China or ship it across the ocean to Europe. Like we're gonna open up those other markets with that other stuff because we in Canada can't use all of our energy. We have to sell
We
it.
have to sell it. Yeah,
We have to
totally.
sell it because we produce more than we can even use in the entire nation. So
Yeah,
and same with our grains and I think there's a lot of steel. It's a big
steel,
steel is a huge thing that we do a lot of
lumber.
lumber, right? So and the lumber is a renewable resource. We have so much space, and then one of the other things I heard about was water too is one of the big things that is one of the main resources that Canada has. But
We got that high quality H2O.
something like glacial water. But anyways, I hope that we get this sorted out because it's a little bit unnecessary overall, I think.
I agree with you.
But I do think people might be a little more have their eyes open a little more. And I got a couple calls today about people like wondering about more Canadian made products and looking about like curious about Canada West and curious about Brahma boots. And for those that don't know, I'll say it one more time. But Brahma boots proudly made in Winnipeg since 1978. It's actually a Canadian made product. Like we build all the boots in Canada. There's only one other place for sure doing it like we do, and that's Boulay in Saint-Tite, Quebec. So I think Alberta Boot, I don't know what they're doing anymore. I haven't seen what they're doing, but their boots are totally built differently than what they used to be. So, anyways, Brahma and Boulay were still doing it
In
100% here.
Canada. Yeah.
I don't know what the Alberta process is anymore, but Alberta Boot process is anymore. But anyways,
And we know and we can confirm cheesies in Canada.
still
So
Canadian.
get some boots, get some cheesies,
Yeah.
and hang tight till the dollar rebounds. And
Support your local farmers and
yeah,
ranchers. Alberta
and
beef, folks.
that's right.
Another one too. Like
And
we got to sell some beef. Like I don't think we can consume all the beef in Alberta that we produce, can we?
shit, no,
Right? Like that goes a long ways around the world.
sure does.
But anyways, we better move on from this. But
Yeah, we got a
speaking
big
of our
show.
guests, it's kind of I didn't realize this till a second ago, but the last 4 guests on the show have all been from America too, maybe more if we go back further. But like
Are they charging us
Cowboy
a
shit.
tariff?
Pardon? Yeah,
Are they
they probably
charging
will
us a tariff?
charge us a guest tariff for all of our American guests. I don't know. But I totally forgot, Dustin. I was totally gonna do this and I forgot I gotta borrow this for a second because
Oh yeah,
we'll just go ahead and show off our
since
guest
this is
this
our
week.
guest today.
Right?
Look at that.
Right? Got our shipment of stuff in the other day.
Gamblers, baby.
I had the shirt. I just totally blanked, but I'll wear this the rest of the show. And I'll give it to you later. Sorry. So my hair's clean. I did shower today.
Perfect.
Anyway, CEO of the Austin Gamblers next on the show. We caught up with him in Las Vegas. Mr. JJ Gottsch. Dustin, you got anything else before we get to the interview?
No, looking forward to hearing what JJ's talking about with the gamblers and the teams. It's going to be fun.
The champions of the 2024 PBR teams. He's the CEO. Brought the buckle by the booth in Vegas. We had a good chat. So enjoy the show this week, everybody. Catch up with you after the interview one more time. All right, live from Las Vegas, we are in the Cowboy Shit booth, and we've got a special guest and a what do we call this? A special guest? Yeah, well, two special guests, really. Two. Yeah, one is one's a buckle, one's it's very expensive.
Big ass buckle.
Yeah, big ass buckle, Montana Silversmith buckle. But more importantly, the CEO and general manager of the Austin Gamblers, the 2020 23 or 4. How do they 24 technically they say it. And it was established in 22. But then the finals was you're the second winners of the trophy.
This is the third year. So Nashville Stampede won the first year. Texas Rattlers won last year.
That's right. I was missing
this year's winner.
I was mixing up my years. But the 2024 PBR Teams Champions, the Austin Gamblers, this thing's quite distracting. It has its own suitcase.
It's massive. Actually, that's just my in-town traveling case.
In-town?
Has this massive cargo box that we have to take it in.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Like a full they probably call it like a full road case.
Yeah, it's a full road case and everything else. That's the largest championship buckle in the world. Probably worth about $250,000.
That's crazy.
I think it took 19 people to make.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
For the specs of it, just for folks that might not know about it. I picked it up. It probably weighs 35, 40 pounds.
It's over 20. I think it's like
over
20, 25 pounds.
25. Yeah. It's real gold, real silver, made by the crew at Montana Silversmiths. Like it even has a clasp on the back, it's got the full specs of a real buckle.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no belts that'll fit it, but
since this show is going to be a little bit off the rails anyway, with it being
we're in the trade show.
We'll show everybody. We'll give everybody the kind of the behind the scenes.
Yeah. Here, I'll hold the mic so you can talk about it here. We're gonna lift up the buckle. Look at the back. Look.
In addition, we've got, if you look on the back, if you zoom in really tight on Ted's laptop, you can see they've actually got the 2022 Nashville Stampede coaches Justin McBride, and then you got the Texas Rattlers with Coach Cody Lambert. So each year they'll put the name of the team and the coach on the back, because this is one. So at the end of the year, we give this back, and then whoever wins next year gets the trophy again. So it's a one of one, and then obviously we get replicas that we get made to be worn.
Do you have your own buckle yet, JJ? Has it shown up yet, or is it still in production since that finals was only in October?
No, so those come to us in when PBR goes to New York to Madison Square Garden, the first weekend in January, kind of the unofficial kickoff of the year. That's when we get all of our wearable buckles.
Outstanding. Well, it takes it's probably about 6 to 8 weeks in production on those, and I guess we're only six weeks from when the finals even ended. That was here in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile, only like October 22nd to 24th ish, if I remember the dates right.
18th to the 20th, because we actually won the championship on my wife and I's 23rd anniversary.
No way.
Yeah.
Was she there?
She was there.
Oh wow! Did she was there the whole weekend?
It's a good thing we won. We wouldn't have won. It'd have been a bad anniversary.
Would have been a rough anniversary. Yeah. Well, you guys would have had a pretty fun celebration afterwards, and then I would imagine. I wasn't here, but saw some stuff.
It was great. PBR puts on a great show. We actually went over to the Wynn, and they had a big late night party there. They had a bunch of DJs. They had a full celebration, cakes, and all this stuff. So it was a lot of fun. I'll tell you though, because with this being the third year of the league, we won the regular season the first 2 years, but we stumbled in Vegas, when we got to the postseason the first 2 years. Struggled a lot during this regular season in 2024. Just was not very consistent. Just really could never really get it going. Never really build up any wins. Had a rough first night in Las Vegas. Had to go to the last chance game. Snuck out of that, and then just went on fire on semifinal Saturday. We rode 4 out of 5 bowls against Carolina. On Sunday, we get to championship Sunday. We got to play 2 games. We played a number 2 team in the world, Kansas City Outlaws. We go 5 for 5, our first perfect game in our 3-year history, and that's when we do it. And then
what a great time for it.
Oh, it was unbelievable. And then to come back one more time and beat and play Carolina again, and again rode 4 out of 5 bowls. So we rode 14 out of 15 bowls in the last 3 games.
Holy smokes!
Now technically they'll say 13 out of 15 because there was a slap called on Lucas Davino, but still it was an amazing run, and when it was all said and done, I think as much joy as there was, as there was as much relief, just because it was something that we'd been working on for 3 years. We'd been so close. The guys had put so much time and effort into it. And so it was probably as much relief as it was joy.
Well, and so talk about those Carolina games, like, and we can talk about the free agent signing from the summer, snagging one certain guy that we can talk about in a little bit. But to go from, like, those guys were like, they got a powerhouse team. If we're talking superstar, like, stud guys, like, you guys have a strong roster, probably the strongest at this point, if we're just being totally candid here. But like, Carolina had an extremely tough roster, and to go against those guys twice, like, you guys had to step up to do it.
Yeah, I mean, really, to play Carolina twice in 24 hours in Kansas City, and those were the two teams that were leading the entire year.
All year,
they were
yeah.
in first and second, and it literally came down to the last game of the season to determine the regular season winner between Carolina and Kansas City. And so those two were the lead dogs the entire season, and they both owned us in the regular season too.
Wow.
But it was one of those things when you look at our roster, we don't have a lot of young guys, mostly a veteran roster, guys that have been around. We got a 2-time world champion. We've got Kaiki's won in 2018. We had Dalton, who's a rookie of the year. Guys that have been there before, and Lucas Divino and Ramon De Lima, both guys in their 30s. So it was really interesting. We talked about it a little bit a few weeks ago, and that they said, really it was one of those things to where when they felt like we got to those big moments, and they'd all been to the World Finals in Las Vegas, that's when it really set in. And when the lights were the brightest, that's when those guys really shined.
Talk about some roster construction side of things now. We were talking offline before we started, but there's no salary cap in the league yet in the PBR Teams Series. And we were talking on the baseball side of things. That's your background, as we talked about in the previous show that we did together. But you guys are building your roster in a certain way, and there's a bit of investment there to make that happen, because it's not free to build a roster like this.
Yeah, and so in terms of just general roster construction and kind of the timeline throughout the year, it ebbs and flows. So during the actual season, you have a 12-man roster. 7 of those guys you can actually fully protect. 5 they're on your reserve roster, so you can protect them a little bit but not fully. And then as we go into this offseason, going into the next year, we took that roster from 12 to 8, but we're able to fully protect all 8 of those guys throughout this offseason, because we're going to have some preseason games baked into the UTB season this year. So they wanted to give us a little bit more from a protection side. And so we've got 8 guys right now that will stay with throughout this offseason. Then once we get back to the draft in May, and after the draft, it'll go back to 12, 7 protected, 5 that aren't. And for us, was, again, we although we've had success the first couple of years winning the regular season, and last year, obviously with this last season winning the team championship in Vegas, but it's not our goal to just win one. And really, just very candidly for us, we want to be the first team in PBR Team's history to win the regular season and the postseason in the same year. We want to be the first team to win back-to-back postseasons. So this is a goal of ours, and we're going all in. And so we made some moves fairly quickly after the season ended and free agency opened up. We were able to pick up arguably, one of the best free agents, if not the best free agent available in the 3-year history of the league, with Sage Kimzey, who was obviously he's been a star here in Vegas at the NFR, had a couple amazing seasons with Carolina. So we're excited to add another veteran right-handed, just legit rider with him. And then we even got one more. We got Denner Barbosa to kind of fill out that left side. A great guy. He's been, I think, 9 PBR World Finals, won a World Championship with Nashville in 2022. So we feel really good right now. We've got 4 strong rights. We got 4 strong lefts. Mostly veteran guys have been there before, but we're in it to win it. And, we've got some lofty goals and some lofty expectations. Fortunately, we have an ownership group that really pushes us. They challenge us. They want us to be the best in the world, and they want to win championships. And so for us, I think everybody's got a little bit of a different business model, and I think everybody has success in different ways in how they measure it. For us, it's really on the dirt championships. And then we just feel like, whatever happens after that, the success will follow. So yeah, we probably do spend a little bit more than most of the teams but it's just a philosophy for us, and that we think that, in turn, by getting those talented riders and having success, that we think that we'll have success follow us in other parts of our business.
I'm curious on the contract side of things. Like I hope the bull riders are doing well, and I'm sure they are. But I got to talk on the ownership side. Like I don't remember talking a ton on the Dell side of things and the ownership side. I kind of forget. I think there's a few different names, but talk about the ownership and just kind of how that's gone. How much support you guys got? A ton of support on that side of it.
Yeah. So to your first question about rider salaries and how much the guys are making. So, really, when you look at what's happened with PBR teams, the evolution of teams in the 3 years since this has started, the top 100 riders in the world are now making 2 times as much just in prize money from the PBR. And then once you count in the endorsement agreements, that the money, the guaranteed money and the bonus money that the teams are paying the individual riders, I think the top 50 to top 100 riders are probably making 3 times more than they used to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, they'll never be, I don't know that
it won't be public like the NFL, NBA.
No, but
not for a while, I would imagine.
And when I told these guys when we first got started, I'm like, listen, I don't know that we'll ever be able to compensate you for the risk that you take. You're risking your lives, and I don't know that you can put a numerical value on that. But I guarantee you that we're going to compensate you more, and we're going to compensate you as much as we can. And we're really proud of what we've been able to do, not just with the gamblers, but on a league-wide level. How much these guys are able to make. And then in addition to that, not just us, but all the other teams in the league, all the different services that they're at, providing for these athletes in terms of training, nutrition, rehabilitation services, coaching, mentoring, all these different things. We've got some of the legends in the sport and some really smart business people that are running these teams. And so I think these guys are growing and becoming better bull riders. I think they're becoming better rounded men. And so we're really excited about that. And then when you look at the ownership groups that are a part of PBR, the PBR Team Series, not just with us. So we've got Abby and Egon Durbin, who are our majority owners, and then Michael Dell, as you talked about, is a minority owner. So, obviously big names in Austin and in Texas. But then when you look around the league, you go to Arizona with the Ridge Riders, owned by Thomas Toll and Teton Ridge. Thomas is a minority owner with the Pittsburgh Steelers. When you go up to the Oklahoma City Wildcatters, you got Taylor Gooch, the live golfer. You go up to Missouri Thunder, Johnny Morris, Bass Pro Shop. Everybody loves him.
Absolutely. And really nice guy too. Remember met him at a race one time, just randomly, just salt of the earth people.
Yeah. And, speaking of racing, you go down to Carolina, you got Richard Childress, RCR Racing, and his grandson, Austin Dillon, running that club. Heath Freeman is down in Florida. And then there's a guy named Mark Lazary, who owns a team up in New York, the Mavericks. He was a previous owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. And after they won it all, he took that money and started investing in other sports. And so, really big names, smart people. And I think when you get that level of business intelligence and that level of investment, and you put that together with the years of experience of the guys that have been around forever, like Cody Lambert, like J.W. Hart, like Michael Gaffney, like Jerome and Tiffany Davis, and Justin McBride, I think that the future is really bright for PBR teams.
Well, it's I remember talking to Chad Blankenship, who's with the Rattlers now. Isn't that right?
Correct. Chad's their GM and is doing a great job there.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember everything in my head here. But he was on the show. I think he was still at PBR at the time. I forget with the league itself, rather than a team directly. But we talked about the team side of things, and I think we were just launching teams, and that was what the conversation was at the time. But he and I might have said this in the last show too, but I thought that the team's format change was one of the biggest marketing tool changes that had ever happened in professional rodeo world at all. There's the Kid Rock, rock and roll rodeo that they're doing in Arlington with the World Finals in May, but to change the entire format of bull riding, I think is one of the only marketing changes that could happen to the format of the sport. But just to take that and add all these different people in that you're talking about, that all these highly successful people in business that are now part of the PBR, yourself included, all these different people. I thought it was one of the best moves that could have ever been made in the world, in the Western sports world.
Well, and when you think about it, there's really kind of 2 different versions of a team format. So you mentioned Kid Rock's Rock and Rodeo, right? So it's a team format rodeo, but those are all teams that they were formed for one event.
Yeah, one time.
One city. I think that the secret to the success of PBR teams is not only this new format, and it's much more It's easier to consume for a casual fan to be able to come in and understand the sport. And that's my team versus that team. But now you've got a year-round presence. And because before you just had individual fans of, Jose Vitor Leme, Kaique Pacheco, John Crimmer, whoever it may be. But now you've got their individual fans. Now you've got entire cities that are rooting for Jose Vitor Leme, that are rooting for these guys. And they may have never been to a game before, never been to a bull riding event, but they watch us on Sundays on CBS or whatever it is. So I think the big secret to this is not just creating a team format, but having the individual markets and creating teams and brands and franchises in markets, because now you've got the entire city of Austin that is now following PBR.
Yeah.
Glendale, Arizona, Nashville, Tennessee, Kansas City, Brooklyn, New York. And you've got folks that are really excited about this. And, it's kind of that gateway drug because, with Yellowstone and everything else and the West Hamilton's moment, there was people that maybe moved from California or Chicago and they're in Austin. They don't really know if they should buy boots if they're able to, but now they can say, hey, I've got boots because I've got a professional bull riding team in my town, and I got a hat. So I think that's been probably the biggest thing, is to be able to have these individual markets being built and supporting not just these riders, but the entire league.
I love it. And I the next thing I got to ask though now is on the team and city side of things, and talk about those events. I haven't been to one since Cheyenne, but Cheyenne was a neutral ground event, so the venue and the crowd was not partial to any certain team. But I want to talk about Austin and the event you all have had for, I think this is already 3 years now. So each team has their home event, but like I gotta go see one sometime and see what it's like. But I can't imagine. I've heard about like booing, and I've heard about like the crowd getting into these different pieces, and it just sounds incredible. Like I think it'd be a neat atmosphere.
It's really amazing. I've been in sports my entire life and been involved in almost every sport and every event you can imagine. But to see how fast that these fans did pick it up, they picked up the rivalry and the win-loss nature, I think, a lot sooner than they even picked up the understanding of how a bull gets scored or how a bull ride gets scored.
It's secondary, though.
It really is.
No offense to the scores, but if this team rides 4 bulls and this team rides 3, it's pretty simple. Right? Like, make it easy.
Yeah. And so I think that we noticed it, I think, late in year one, where one of the hometown markets, the hometown team booed the other team when they were getting introduced. But I will tell you that probably and it's happened in every market. It's happened in literally every market. But what was crazy, and I think I was paying attention to it more this year, but was the first night in Sunrise, Florida, just outside of Fort Lauderdale, with the Freedom, John Crimber's team.
Home of the Florida Panthers.
Correct.
Yeah.
Marin Arena. Very first night, whoever the Freedom are playing, they get introduced, and they just get bragged on, just getting booed and yelled at. And then the very next weekend, we go to Brooklyn, New York. We're at the Barclays Center, where people more than likely don't have a clue about what bull riding is.
Yeah, or maybe they had, because maybe they've been to MSG for years. I don't know.
But it's a huge crowd. But they've never booed at MSG.
That's true. Well, except when the bull roper, the safety man misses.
Oh yeah. When
the only other time that I've heard that happening.
Yeah,
because I did go to that.
So they get introduced, and the opposing team gets introduced, and they start booing. So it has been. I think it's something odd in Western sports to hear a fan booing any of the athletes, but that's, I think, when you know that the rivalries have been created and there's a lot of interest in the sport.
So 3 years in, where are we at right now, and what still needs to change? I don't know if we talked about it last time, but there's the 0-0 tie side of things, and then there's the part where if there's irrelevant rides later on. But with all these different people and all this influence and where things are at, it's a new league. Like, not everything's gonna be perfect right off the bat. But I'm curious, and I don't want you to get put you in a spot where something's going on. But I'm curious what the next evolution of this is.
No, and that's the great thing is the collaboration. This thing is still owned and run by PBR, and Sean Gleason is our CEO. But we got 10 teams with 10 really smart GMs, 10 really smart coaches, and then the riders themselves. And so, we try to make decisions with the information that we have at the time. And we've made changes not only every year, sometimes every month, sometimes week to week, just trying to continue to tweak this thing to get it to be where it's right. You mentioned the 0-0 tie. That actually got changed after the first year, to where if there's a 0-0 game, both teams get a loss. And so there's been little changes every single year, and a lot of times changes within the year. Just when there's, you don't want to change the format, and you want to have a fair playing field for everybody throughout a season. But if you can make changes to improve the sport and not have it impact negatively a team or their record, I think PBR has been very aggressive in trying to make those changes and get this thing as right as we can, as quickly as we can.
So looking forward to the next season, 2025. And essentially, is there anything, and I'm sorry I don't recall right now, but is there anything this year still in the next few weeks that have a team aspect, or is that not start till MSG Gen 1?
So the kind of the new thing this year is it's called a game within a game. And so there's going to be I think 30 different or 15 different events throughout the UTB, the Unleash the Beast individual season, to where on the first night of the event there will be a team game. So as an example, in Houston this year, it's a Saturday, Sunday night, Jan 17 and Jan 18. On January 17th, there'll be a team game, the Texas Rattlers versus the Austin Gamblers. Essentially what it'll be, and it's going to be a little bit different. It'll be a 6-on-6 format instead of 5-on-5, and that's mostly for TV and kind of how they need production times. But what you'll see is the first 28 riders will be like any normal UTB event you've ever seen, guys coming out and riding. The last 12 rides will be 6 for the Rattlers and 6 for the Gamblers, alternating, and their UTB score will remain the same. Whatever they get on that ride will go to that individual event. They'll just be wearing an actual Gamblers gear or a Rattlers gear. And so they actually have the ability to make money twice. They have the ability to make money from the actual UTB portion of the event, and then also extra money if they win from the team side.
And how do the standings work for the year with those team events? Or that is not really counted?
It's really, so basically what we did is we created the different rivalries within the league. So obviously the Rattlers in Austin, the two teams in Texas. So we're going to play each other 3 times. And so what it's about is you either win or you lose. And there's a certain amount of money that's got prize money for each night, and it all goes to the winner. There's nothing that's going to be split.
Oh, winner takes all.
Winner takes all.
For the teams.
Winner takes all for the teams in each one of those 3 games that you play. So for us, we're going to, our UTB events where the Gamblers will be participating will be in Houston, in Albuquerque, and in Nampa, Idaho. And so those will be our 3 games. Each night will be a winner take all versus the Rattlers.
Dang. So I think, and I talked about this early on when the change was coming, and it looks like it's already maybe progressing a little way that way. But I got thinking about how the MVP of the team season, which if the team season becomes a year-long piece, then the MVP is your world champion, essentially, kind of like the MVP of the league in the NHL or the NFL, all those. Like, I can just see this kind of progressing that way, possibly. I know that there's still the world champion side of things, but I wonder if there ends up being more team formatting moving forward.
Obviously the team side has generated a lot more excitement for the sport. But there's still the individual nature of this sport that I think there's a lot of people that really like that still. And so I don't know, I think that the team series will continue to grow, will more than likely expand a few more teams in the next couple of years. The schedule will probably increase. At some point, hopefully we'll get 2 home events as opposed to 1. But I don't know.
Can your home market support that though?
I think so. And in fact, I think it won't hurt or dilute our original event. I think it just helps because when you're going out and you talk to sponsors all the time, so we're going out and talking to sponsors, if I was able to guarantee them 6 nights of exposure in the city of Austin, maybe 3 in the spring and 3 in the fall, as opposed to just 3 days, I think that's much more attractive for them, the ability to have their message spread out a little bit further. So for us, we think that's a good thing. So, I think it'll grow, but I don't know, Ted, I don't know if the individual season will ever go away.
And there's so many different venues. Like, how do you not have Albuquerque on the PBR schedule for one of their premier events of the year?
Or Sacramento.
Yeah, or Sacramento. Or how do you change New York City at Madison Square Garden? Like, I know you have the Brooklyn team, but they are home base out of Barclays. But yeah, how do you give that up? That's really difficult.
Yeah, so I don't know that ever really. I don't know that ever really goes away.
Yeah, fair enough. I was thinking about what it might look like, but so sorry, I kind of got sidetracked there, but 2025, the next season, we've got Sage Kimzey, we've got Dina Barbosa as well. We've got a stacked team. The goals are set in a lofty way. I can ask one question, but I guess I got to go back a little ways because you mentioned the different assets and different pieces that teams have
for the riders. I want to dive in a little more specifically into that though, and ask what you guys are doing, whether it's personal training, like how much the guys are actually at in Austin. Like Callum Miller's a guy that's on your team.
Yep.
From Australia, lives in Canada, rides for the Gamblers, so he's a tri-national rider. Where you've got
I would not want to do his taxes.
Right? Yeah, I don't know how that even works. I don't even know where his technical residency is. What that's for legal to figure out. But I wonder what the assets are for a guy like Callum, or because I think his game has improved since being part of the team side of things. But also his schedule's changed because now he's really focused on the team side of things, as he should, because that's his main gig.
Yeah, so we try to provide as much as we can for these guys, but one of the things I think is that these riders don't, unlike other sports, they don't live in the cities that they ride for. So we don't have one rider that lives in Austin. Sage
even within like 3 or 4 hours.
No, it's about 3 hours for us because a lot of our guys, like everybody else, most of the Brazilian riders are up in Decatur and Bowie. We've got some of our guys in the Stephenville area, Weatherford area. So typically what we try to do is we've got a mass, a majority of our riders are up in kind of the Decatur area. And so we've got a trainer that has got a facility there. And so we make him available to our riders, not only during the team season, but in the off season as well. And not only is he doing, strength training and speed training and all, and agility and all those things, he's also doing physical therapy in terms of rehab, acupuncture, cryotherapy, all the different things that we can have. And then if there's guys that need even a little bit more than that, we'll work with some specialists to try to get them seen by whoever we need to. So we make that available to them and just different, resources and opportunities. You've been around these guys your entire life. They're very individual. They're free spirits. And so, it's taken a little while to kind of, to be able to gain trust and to work with them and kind of get on a certain program. But I think the guys have really bought in, not only on our team, but on all the rest of the teams. If you look at all the different teams, there's great team culture, but everybody does it a little bit differently. JW does it a little bit different than G-Man. Ross Coleman does it a little bit different. Jerome and Tiffany do a little bit different. But there really seems to be great team culture on all these different teams. And I do really think that not only is it helping make really good bull riders, good bull riders great, but even so-so bull riders better. But it's hopefully it's making them full, better rounded men in terms of, kind of being ready for the next step. What's in store for you after bull riding, because these guys, the shelf life on their riding career is fairly short.
How are you creating team synergy between the American and Brazilian bull riders with the language barrier for some guys? How are you creating that side of things when they're from two different cultures? And then you got a random Aussie as well on the team. Like how do you create that side of things?
Yeah, one of the we've been it's not easy. And I will tell you, we've not been, we're not always successful. Because you're talking about people that come from two different countries, two different languages, two different cultures, not brought up the same. But what we try to really focus on is, how are you the same? Let's not focus on how we're different. Let's focus on how we're the same. And we look at guys like Jose and Dalton, two completely different planets on where they came from. But when you look at them, they're both love to ride bulls. They're both, kind of the best bull riders in the world. They love the stock contracting aspect. They own bulls. They have their own practice pens, their arenas. They raise bulls. They're both married. They both have a child. They're both family men. They're both, very faith-based. And so when you talk to them about those things, like, listen, like, you're more alike than you think you are. And so we really try to focus on that. We're pretty intentional. We made a decision early on to go to Brazil. We hired Adriana Moraes as our assistant coach and director of Brazil operations. We've been down there the last 2 years, and we do a training camp down there. We fly into Sao Paulo. We get in a shuttle, and we go 3 hours to his ranch, and we spend a couple days out there. We don't ride any bulls. We just have the guys together. We just do some cowboy shit and just kind of really hang out and let the guys, again, see how similar they are as opposed to how different they are. But then conversely, for our American guys, when they go down there, because I think they take for granted, all the Brazilian riders, what they have to go through when they come to America.
Oh yeah,
with the language barrier, the food barrier. Where's your kid going to go to school?
Huh.
How do we do taxes?
Oh yeah.
Who do I trust? I think that when we go down there, and it's not just our riders for the first time, but every year that we go down there, it's just a realization that it's difficult to go to a different country and a different culture, and we're only going down there for a week or two, where other guys, they're having to live here. And so we're just trying to create as many of those opportunities as we can. And again, we're not always successful, but we're constantly trying to keep putting those things in front of them.
So Gambler Days 2025 tickets went on sale Tuesday. That would have been December 3rd. So we're already the start of December here, and already planning for an event it's going to be like September next year.
August 22nd through the 24th.
August 22nd to the 24th. So Friday to Sunday
at the Moody Center, which has been named the Polestar Venue of the Year for the last 2 years. It's and it definitely wasn't built or designed for bull riding, but it's amazing on how well it's configured and how well it works. It's not one of those massive, huge old venues that were built in the 90s and early 2000s. It's really intimate. There's not a bad seat in the house, and then we're able to configure it and have dirt level suites in a horseshoe completely around the arena. It makes it really, really intense. But no, so we're excited. This will be our 4th year, hosting the event at the Moody Center in Austin, and just obviously excited about bringing home the championship buckle. We'll obviously we'll raise the banner on the first night there, and hopefully.
What other banners are in the Moody Center?
The Moody Center is the host of Texas women's and Texas men's basketball.
Oh,
so all the banners that they've had throughout the years, and then actually the San Antonio Spurs. They play 2 of their home games each year in Austin
during
Center.
San Antonio Rodeo.
Yep,
I'd assume.
exactly.
Yeah,
Look at you.
Well, I know a little bit of geography, not a lot.
Yeah. So they usually they call it the rodeo road trip that they go on. They've had to go out of town for like 2 weeks.
Well, but it's like a month-long rodeo.
Yeah,
like all of February is the San Antonio Rodeo.
Yeah.
It's amazing that level of venue is, and that level of team gets booted out for a rodeo. It's pretty neat, I think.
Well, that's when you know how much rodeos make.
Yeah, exactly. It can be pretty good.
Yeah.
Sorry, you had one more thing on the Moody Center and the is it UT basketball? Is that what you mean?
Yep.
Texas. Okay.
Yep.
For my non-Texas people that don't know what that is.
Yeah, not Tennessee, Texas.
Yeah, UT. Yeah, Texas. How many people in the venue? Is that like I don't know what the venue is.
For the way that our arrangement is, we got a cap of about 9,000 per day. Yeah. So significantly smaller. I think Nashville, I think the Stampede can put about 13,000 in a night. I mean, it shows you the side. Bridgestone's a very big arena. So I think it's probably one of the smaller size arenas. But no, we really like it. And again, all the arenas and just, it's really fun to be able to take this show on the road and go to all these different cities and even in the off season, going to the different UTB events. I'm excited about going to Madison Square Garden.
How many of those do you end up being at, and what are you doing at those?
I'll usually go to probably a half dozen, maybe a few more this year because we've got the game within a game format. But it just really depends on if we've got something else going on, if I need to go see a couple of our guys, if there's something from a calendar or scheduling standpoint, or if we're trying to, again, provide some type of a support for somebody in terms of maybe medical or something like that in that certain community. So, so we'll do about half a dozen.
We got a guest over here. We might have to do some live questioning.
Or that if she's gonna, or we should see if we can sell some merch on the podcast.
Have to get some gambler stuff in here next.
Can I get what's your commission structure if I sell anything?
Commission structure? We'll make a deal here afterwards.
A free Cowboy shit hat.
We pay in Canadian dollars. It's kind of like Canadian Tire money. It converts a little bit weaker right now, but anything else you want to add here before we leave?
No, man, just appreciate you guys and love your brand and love what you guys do. And it's great to do this in person this time.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think we should do it more often. Either going to need to get you down to Austin, or I need to come up to Canada.
Well, August, I think I might have that. Well, actually, last year we had 2 events that weekend, but we'll see what we got going on. I'll come to one at some point for sure.
Yeah, that, you know what? I told Jason Davidson, I need to get up to the finals at some point.
Oh, man. And Edmonton is unreal. Like Rogers Place, I don't even know. The only place I could actually compare to that I've been to in person is T-Mobile here.
Yeah.
They were built in a similar time, and the outside, whatever the outside is built of at Edmonton is the same as Vegas here.
Oh, nice.
So it's similar, but Rogers is silver. This one's gold.
All right.
Or bronze or whatever you want to call this one. But yeah, like it's funny. They were built at a similar time, so they're kind of similar for what they are. But the finals in Edmonton is like for us, it's unbelievable to have that big of a crowd. But we'd love to see you up our way. Thanks for doing the show again with us.
No, thanks, Ted.
Thanks
Appreciate it, bud.
Awesome.
Hey, thank you, JJ and the Gamblers. If you weren't a fan of them, be a fan of them. Looking to be the 2-time back-to-back champions, and they got some sweet swag. Thanks, JJ, for hooking us up, brother.
Appreciate it.
Love it.
I'm pre-wearing this hat for you, Dustin, warming it up.
Break it in.
Yeah.
Take it to the gym after this and get a little sweat in it for me.
No, I won't do that. I won't wear a hat at the gym. I won't do it.
See how long I can keep a white hat.
I think you can.
Those are sick though, man.
Yeah, I think you're gonna like it.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
What else? We got some cool stuff though. We got another couple hats over here too, and some shirts. So thanks to JJ and the crew for hooking us up. What else? Team season's gonna be going in a bit. They'll start again like midsummer, but they've got some team challenges going on right now too, where they're adding some team elements into the Unleash the Beast events going on right now. And then our Canada Cup Series kicked off. We had a huge crowd in Red Deer.
Sold out show, hey?
Yeah, this past Saturday. Yeah, it was a huge crowd. A lot of energy in the building. Dakota Butter kicks ass, rides 2 bulls, wins the event. I want to say Jordan Hansen was second.
Jordan got 2. Yeah, he rode 2.
Yeah, he was second, but yeah, a lot of solid bull rides. A couple little wrecks. Chance Switzer got off a little bad, but he was all right. And he got wiped out on the fence, so he had kind of had a rough night. Cody Kovarchuk and Nick Tetz don't get anything done. Tetz rides 1 bull, falls off in the short round, could have been 90. Started a really great bull ride. He was not happy with himself. Then we go to Kovarchuk gets on 2 bulls and gets 2 re-rides. But yeah, just still a solid event. Really great start of the year. Gonna go.
Did the sellout crowd tell you that Red Deer missing the
CFR?
The CFR?
Oh well, I think. I mean, that definitely could be part of it because this was the first Western sports event in that venue since the CFR. So I could say that would be part of the appetite.
There would have been this a year ago.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And it was not as well attended as it was last night. So I don't know if it's just because it was so cold, everybody wanted to get out of their house and do something. The marketing was better.
It's just the PBRs in town, man.
It's a great show, right?
It's a great show.
But yeah, Lethbridge coming up in a few weeks. That's always a great one. Dustin, you've got 3 lacrosse games coming up in Calgary in the next 2.5 weeks. You got 2
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, the 14th, the 16th, and the 22nd.
On the Family Day Sunday, the 22nd. That's rodeo night.
3 games in 8 days.
Yeah, 7 days, 3 games.
Damn, that's a lot of games.
So be there.
It's a lot of games.
Yeah.
So Dustin, tell us more about what you're doing with the Roughnecks on a daily basis. What's the work day look like for Dustin Edwards?
You know what? It's in the office. So obviously I'm part of the Calgary Flames office group. So there's departments for ticketing, marketing, social, creative, food and beverage, game presentation. And those departments look after all the teams, essentially. So we have 5 teams: the Hitmen, the Western Hockey League, the Wranglers, Flames, Stamps, Roughnecks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of the liaison between all the areas of the Calgary Flames business and the Roughnecks brand. And our circle is primarily Roughnecks, Hitmen, Wranglers. We all kind of work together in our business unit, and we're just making sure everything's happening. Coming up with ideas and marketing and handling just different day-to-day things. So it's no 2 days are the same, which is really cool. And just working to make sure the business is running well, and the financial side's looked after, and the budgeting side and the marketing side and the people side, and that we get good games that are fun and kick ass and full of people. So
I enjoyed the heck out of the overtime game the other day against Georgia, the Georgia Swarm.
That was
right?
superhero night. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. And there's a lady that was totally green behind me. That was kind of wild.
You popped up on the NLL highlight reel on the big hit.
Because that guy got fucking rocked. It was I physically had a reaction. It was like, holy shit, that guy hit the boards hard. And those guys beat the ever living shit out of each other with those sticks too. It's aggressive.
And if you haven't been to a game, you got to come.
It's wild. And get tickets down close too. Like go get.
Yeah, you want to be in the lower bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to see it.
Close. Yeah.
Want to get close.
We'll give away some tickets before the rodeo night.
Really? Will we?
Yeah, we'll give away some on here.
Can I have some?
Well, you can. We'll give some. We got to get some of our Cowboy shit listeners to the rodeo game on the 22nd of February.
What can you give us any insight as to what the rodeo like? Are you gonna ride a bull in an intermission or something, or like what kind?
I was thinking about it, but I think
Jackie Moon wrestles a bear.
You'll see. We got a mechanical bull in the concourse. You can do some roping.
Wow.
We'll have some chuck wagon stuff there.
DJ Tarek on the beats.
DJ Tarek will be there. We've got Brandon Lorenzo playing on the concourse on the stage
really?
Before.
What about the Telus Club?
He's in the Telus Club after too.
Really?
So we got some good country music. Intermission, you might see a boot race.
Really?
Presented by Alberta Boot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Friend of the show, Cowboy Cole. I think he's gonna do some trick roping. So
gonna rope some stuff. So
yeah, it's gonna be a fun night.
I like it.
Maybe we'll get a cowboy shit section and we'll just kind of fill up a couple rows with some listeners.
That'd be cool. That's the 22nd of February. So winter Roughnecks, Calgary Roughnecks winter action at the at the Saddle Dome in Calgary.
For all you folks that put those outfits for Calgary Stampede in the closet for the winter,
bring them back out.
Dig them out.
Bring them back out.
Bring them back out.
Valentine's Day on the 14th. Roughnecks versus who?
Saskatchewan. Huge rivalry. 7:30 game.
The Rush
night at the Dome.
And then you got the 16th. It's L.A.
Vegas.
Oh, Vegas.
The Dessert Dogs.
The Dessert Dogs. That's Gretzky's
team. Yeah. So Gretzky, Dustin Johnson, and Steve Nash own that team, and Joe Tsai, who created Alibaba.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Dang.
He owns Vegas with them guys. So they'll be in on the Sunday. It's the holiday Monday long weekend in there. So it's like a Sunday 5:00. You can get pinned up and sleep in on Monday.
I like it. So not the usual Saturday game, but then the next week you're on the
Saturday night.
Yeah. Right on. The 22nd.
So come check it out.
A lot of Roughnecks. You got no excuses to miss the Roughnecks game unless you're not in the country. Only reason. So Dustin, we're going to work on maybe like some sort of promo or something for next week. We'll look at that.
We'll work on some promo here.
See what we can do.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned, folks.
Or send Dustin, call him on his phone multiple times. Make sure you get it lined up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us this week, everybody. Got anything else, Dustin?
No, man. It's been another great show. We'll see you soon.
Sounds like a plan. Make sure to get your Cowboy shit at cowboyshit.ca as well. Or in stores.